Morning, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, and I'm entering Rose Canyon. Rose Canyon. I am at the corner of Bloch and Bothe Streets. So I'm going to start Rose Canyon from a very different section. And I'm going to see how far I feel like going today. So I'm going to take this trail that wraps around the junction where San Clemente Canyon and Rose Canyon meet up. And I'm going to head that way around to Rose Canyon. So this should be an interesting day. I've never been in this part of Rose Canyon open space before, so it should be a pretty interesting day. We'll get started on it and we'll start talking about what I see today. Start off, we got this row of colander Italian cypress planted here. Breast sempervirens stricta. And some of them have cones in them too. So let's see what kind of adventures I encounter today. This should be interesting. Now, yeah, it should be an interesting day. I'm meaning to try this part here. This trail should connect both Rose and San Clemente Canyons. Wow. Yeah, you have a conglomeration of native and non-native species growing here. So yep, this trailhead is located in the University City intersection of Bothe, B-O-T-H-E, and Bloch, B-L-O-C-H. You get it off of a couple of streets off of Regents Road. So what I did is I went on Regents, north on Regents, turned left onto Pennant, left onto Stresemann, which turns into some other Soderblom or something like that. But you go straight, then you turn left onto Bloch, follow Bloch to where you see the little intersection with Bothe, and the end of Bothe's cul-de-sac is where you'll find that trailhead I showed you at the beginning. Now we still got a lot of action going on here on the black sage. This black sage is still in full bloom. That is gorgeous. Purplish bluish flowers. Let's see what kind of interesting things I encountered today. And right up there is Soledad Mountain. So we're not that far from La Jolla either. There's the cross on the eastern summit, which is slightly lower than the western summit. Wow. I wonder what I'll encounter today. So what this is going to do is it's going to curve around to the north-ish towards Rose Canyon. You can also connect it to San Clemente Canyon if you go around the opposite way. Which today, it's been a few years since I've been to Rose Canyon. It's been, I think, nearly almost 3 years. Almost 3 years since I've been to Rose Canyon, so I'm going to explore that today. I'm going to try to see how far I can go. See how far I'm willing to go today. So we'll see how that goes. Huh? The connector between the canyons should be coming up pretty soon. I think I'm almost there now, I believe. See, we're basically coming up to the junction of California 52 and Interstate 5. And that's about where you should encounter the trails that connect the two. In fact, we're just about at it right now. Here it is. In fact, there's a trail sign You take this, which becomes concrete for a while, it'll take you to San Clemente Canyon. Trail to Marion Bear, 0.3 miles. So, but if you want to go to Rose Canyon, we're going to turn right. All right. So here we go. We are in the Rose Creek watershed right now. We are in the Rose Creek watershed. Rose Creek kind of cuts through down here, and it goes over towards Mission Bay. Oh, there's a pretty decent sized bladder pod. I don't see any fruit on it, so I can't tell what variant this is. I suspect it's probably Cleomella arborea variety arborea. And there's a small hummingbird. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but right about there. Really small hummingbird. Not sure what species that is. I don't think that's Anna's hummingbird this time. Let me see if I can get closer so you can see. Right there in the center, there's kind of like a reddish color. That might be, I don't know, that might be Costas hummingbird, maybe? I'll have to do some checking up on that. Right there. There's a little reddish dot. There's a really small hummingbird there. I don't think that one's Anna's hummingbird. Very small. Because Anna's hummingbird, the one I usually see, is actually I think our largest hummingbird species, and it itself is a small bird. All right, well, we'll see it up the way, and we'll see how this gets. There we go. It's our first Audubon's cottontail of the day. Yeah, it's got black-tipped ears. That's how I'm pretty sure about my identification. Yeah, these are a very common sight. You'll get these in your suburban neighborhoods too. They'll hop across your yard. See them in my mobile home park community. So, yeah. Sometimes when I leave for work at about 3:30, 3:40 in the morning. Sometimes I'll see them hopping around inside as I'm leaving. Oh, Palmer sagewort, Artemisia palmeri. It's been a while since I've been around this one. Watching where I reach because there's a lot of poison oak around here. So I'm trying to be careful. All right. Yeah, here we go. These little bluffs that overlook, these little bluffs, part of the mesa system that overlook the Rose Canyon watershed. All right. Let's see. All right, so I guess we're gonna go up this. It's like an old service road here. Okay, let's see what else comes my way. Alright, you'll have to pardon the freeway noise. It's going to be pretty prevalent for this portion. Ooh. Sidalcea sparsifolia. Here we go, more checker blooms. Hello. Ooh, okay. Yes, indeed. Nice little patch of them right here. Right here. I got this little side canyon here. Wow. Pretty neat. Very neat. Metro trolley system. And, yeah, definitely some interesting aspects here. I'll have to get past the really loud freeway noise. Very interesting. Yeah, this Rose Creek is where it's channelized right down there. Just have that on your left when you're heading towards Rose Canyon. Interstate 5. And this up here is part of Soledad Mountain open space. Even though it's not actually on Soledad. Part of it here. I did a hike in January last year where I went up. I parked over, had a parking ride, took the road, and just went up a series of trails and dirt roads up to the ridge there. That was an interesting little adventure. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to that in the description. So yeah, I've never been to this part of Rose Canyon. Alright. We have a couple of hills to go. Oh, there's some California poppies too. Yes, indeed, our state flower right here. We do get that occasionally pop up here in our local canyons. Always a nice little interesting piece of state lore, because it is our state flower. We're getting closer to the creek. See here a lot of willows, some sycamores, and some oaks. Pretty sure mountain bikers love this because you get some ups and downs along this. There's some of the side canyons there. Very majestic. And here we go. Coast live oaks. Quercus agrifolia, variety agrifolia. All right. So we're heading down towards Rose Canyon proper. Ooh, yeah, it's lush over here. Just making sure I don't touch any poison oak. Sure. Ooh, yeah, this is nice. There's a bridge over here too. We're gonna cross part of Rose Creek. Oh yeah, this is very nice. Yeah, here's Rose Creek here, in fact. So we're gonna cross right above it. Okay. Very stagnant, not much movement here. Yes, very beautiful here. Here's a non-native periwinkle, Vinca major. Occasionally you'll see that. In fact, here's one with the flower on it. Yeah, it's a greater periwinkle. Something that you do sometimes see pop up. Yeah, a lot of this is arroyo willow too. We've got a lot of arroyo willow growing here. Yeah. Gotta look out for that. Western poison oak. It does get really close to the trail right here, in fact. I gotta really watch out where I go. This part's a little overgrown here. So I'm really watching out where I step. Very beautiful, very sylvatic here, though, I'll tell you that. Yeah. Some of the poison oak is really close to the trail here, so just kind of watch where you go. Okay, now we're in a little coast live oak grove here. Young trees. Ah, yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. Oh, yes. Now we're starting to get the blooms opening up on the March evening primroses. Yeah, okay. Yeah, these little tall individual stalks. And sandbar willow. Yes, indeed. Population of Salix exigua variety Heinziana. Yes, we got sandbar willow over here too. Yeah, look at that. Here we got Heinz willow or Heinz sandbar willow. Here are Marsh evening primrose up close. All right, well, let's see what else I find on this. There's a massive old California sycamore trunk. Look at the size of that base. That part of the trunk is dead, but you can see it resprouts from its base. There's a lot of green tissue here too. Just look at the base of that single trunk. That a massive trunk. And you do get some really old sycamores here in these canyons of San Diego. Over in San Clemente Canyon, there are some absolutely massive trees down there. Some absolutely massive sycamores. All right. Let's see what other kind of things I find today. That was a huge old trunk. Trunk is probably a few hundred years old. All right. And we'll see what other encounters we have today. All right. Yeah, I remember this spot right here. Coming up on it right now. Yeah, look at that Torrey pine. It's getting big. Yes, indeed. And this is a local native Pinus toriana, subspecies toriana. I think this thing's bigger than the last time I remember. This thing is getting huge. Wow. That thing is getting massive. That thing is getting big. And quickly, too. They're known to be pretty rapidly growing trees. There's a lot of western poison oak here. A lot of it. This canyon's choked with it. So just be careful. Stay on the trail. Fremont cottonwood. Yes, we got a Fremont cottonwood. We do get a few of those here. All right. bunch of stuff growing here. Maybe I'll check out that way back. Yeah, that's where I got a few large old sycamores here too that are still fully invested. Once they've been planting a lot of natives, you'll see those little tube-shaped protectors sticking out of the ground. But yeah, there's a nice little sycamore right there. I've been over in this part a few times, so this area is pretty familiar. And we got willow baccaris here too. Baccaris salicina. Got willow baccaris growing here, along with coyote brush and broom baccaris, two other closely related species. So it looks like they're trying to remove the mustards, those plants that are causing that yellow hue up the side of the canyon wall, so we can start putting native plants back in. Look, there's actually a sycamore seedling in that little protective tube there. Yeah, it's good to see. Very good to see. Yeah, you can tell that they're trying to claw up that hill to remove some of that mustard and reestablish native plants, which is all right in my book. There seems to be quite a bit of willow baccaris here too. Quite a bit of it. More protective tubes. Yeah, there's more poppies over here. These poppies are a little darker orange than you would expect. So these ones might be from seeded stock from further up north. Because I think the ones that usually here are supposed to be more typically yellow. More yellow orange as opposed to rich orange. Just the DNA from these plants might be from more up north. Pretty interesting. But yeah, you can see a lot of those plastic protector tubes on that slope right there, which is incredible. Good to see. All right, time to keep on trekking. This big area, big thicket area of baccaris. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Here's another baccaris right here. This one is coyote brush. The leaves are a little shorter, a little more rounded, but very similar nevertheless. This is Baccaris pilaris subspecies consanguinea. And this one's Baccaris salicina, or maybe a hybrid of the two. Perhaps right here. Very closely related, so they can hybridize quite readily. Yeah, look at that. I hope they're being careful. They're not taking out these grasses here. These ones here are native. These ones look like Elymus condensatus. Looks like they're taking some of that out too. It's like giant wild ryegrass. Very nice canyon. We are coming up across a humongous California sycamore. Yes, indeed. I remember this tree. First, though, there's a handsome little spiny red berry. It's got a few fruit on it. Ramus crocea. Handsome little shrub. And a white sage. Salvia apiana, Apis mellifera mellifera. And western vervain. It's blooming right now. This is Verbena lasiostachys, variety lasiostachys. We'll find that sometimes here in the canyon. But this is the main thing I wanted to showcase. This massive old California sycamore in here. Of course, multi-trunked, like a lot of our sycamores are here. Should be one massive root system down there, though. Yeah. Yeah, Platanus racemosa, California sycamore. Very massive. Very handsome old tree. Here's another pretty tall one right here as well. That's a pretty loud rented bird. Of course, on this side of the canyon, we seem to get a fair amount of these really well-formed shrubby Sambuca cerulleas right here. Seeing quite a few really nice shrubby specimens along the side, on this side of the canyon. Now, another thing we get quite a bit of seeing here is our native rose here, Rosa californica, California rose, and it's in bloom right now as we speak. And boy, is it fragrant. It smells just like those garden roses you have, those really ornate garden roses you have in your yard, if you have them, that is. However, this is native and can be very prolific here, but it is not the source of the name Rose Canyon. It's named after somebody named Lewis Rose, if I remember correctly. So Rose Canyon is not named after Rosa californica, which in areas can be quite abundant. So we shouldn't be that far from the junction of the trail that leads up to Regents Road. Could be a side trip on the way back, maybe. But yeah, I'm just enjoying the peace. Getting quite a bit of hikers and joggers this morning. Enjoying a peaceful Wednesday. A lot of these other people probably work weekends like I do. But yeah. Just enjoying this peaceful canyon. You will hear trains go by because there's a set of train tracks running through here as well. So yeah, here we go. Here's a little information. Native plant restoration by Friends of Rose Canyon and San Diego Tri-Canyons Park Rangers. Now they're doing a bang-up job of restoring the native plant communities. And of course, since this area has been disturbed by a lot of moving around and stuff, it seem to get a lot of western vervain growing here, and this right here, western Jimson weed right here, Datura wrightii, short-lived perennial with humongous flowers, some of the largest flowers of any California native plant. All right, and I love the big, impressive South Rim Canyon walls. See, the North Rim is a lot lower and gentler, as you can see here, or might be able to see here. Not quite as high. The south wall, and it's like this in San Clemente Canyon to our south. Very similar geography, except instead of train tracks, you have a freeway running through it north of the bottom part of the canyon. Those canyon walls are a lot gentler, but the south wall is impressively stark. And I think, yeah, Tecolote Canyon is kind of similar. It has one really steep wall and one gentler wall on the other side. The west wall of Tecolote Canyon, which is part of the Tri-Canyon, as I mentioned on that sign I was reading, part of the Tri-Canyon here in the University City / Claremont area of San Diego. Rose Canyon, San Clemente Canyon, and Tecolote are the 3 canyons here. As you can tell, the south rim of the canyon is a little more rugged, steeper, and higher. Okay. Yes. Pretty interesting. All right. I'll see where I'm at when I'm at the junction to Regents Road. In fact, after that one opening in the gate, very shortly thereafter, here's our trail junction. If you're parked at Regents Road, you just follow that up that finger canyon. It'll take you to Regents Road. And then the tip of it goes up that way. Nice little scenic trail as well. Pretty short though. And here's another really big sycamore. So we're heading towards Genesee Avenue. Heading towards that direction right now. But yeah, there's another massive sycamore right there. It's probably about 100 feet tall. It's a big tree. All right. Well, here we go. Oh, here's an interesting plant. This is actually an asparagus, species of asparagus. Not the type you eat, but Asparagus asparagoides with its red fruit. It's a very common invasive vine, not native, and it does commonly occur here in these canyons. But hey, just look at that. Nice big rise right there. Alright, well, I'm going to keep on trekking and I will see you at the next update. But first, here's another blue elder. Pretty handsome little specimen here. This is a younger one. Alright, another big sycamore. There's something interesting right here. This small tree right here. That's not another California sycamore. That's actually a sweet gum, an American sweet gum tree, Liquidambar stericiflua, native to the eastern half of North America. Yeah, that's actually a sweet gum tree, a wild one that got established down here by Rose Creek. Very interesting. Every now and then, you'll come across a rogue one. They're extremely commonly planted street tree, residential tree here in Southern California, known for their often very vibrant red, yellow, orange, even purple fall colors. But every now and then you'll come across a rogue one that got established, usually in these damper canyons. So when I lived in New Jersey, there's this one place near the town of Basking Ridge, which is in north central New Jersey, called Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. And you'll see really tall sweet gum trees in the swamp. A lot of times they'll grow in swamps too, so they can tolerate pretty wet soils. That's probably why that one got established there, because there's a lot more moisture there. Look at that. Pretty nice. But yeah, every now and then you'll come across sweet gum trees that pop up in our canyons. Seen it a few times. It's not very common. It's quite rare, but it does happen. Alright, time to keep on trekking. Before we get to Genesee, we're going to get to this area that's very thickly wooded and very beautiful. I can see it coming up ahead. here's a massive old Sambuca cerulean. I remember from the couple times I've been here. This is the old massive trunks on this thing. Look at that. Yeah, I remember this guy. This is a massive old stem one here. This thing is huge. Not very tall, but boy, look at the girth on the trunks. Every now and then you'll come across some pretty girthy specimens of blue elder. This one's been around for a very long time. Yeah, this part of the canyon wall's a little lower. This one's not quite as stark as further to the west. Yeah, the canyon walls are a little lower here, but they may actually continue uphill past here. Yeah, there's a lot more of these really rich orange California poppies growing here as well. So we're about to enter the really dark forested part of this, so I'll get some footage on them over there. So we're about to enter this really thickly wooded area. This will be a nice shady retreat during the summer. Wow. Yeah, I remember this part right here. Some pretty hefty coast live oaks growing here. I think that's a use trail up to the houses. Darkly wooded area right here. Probably not not something that a lot of people who aren't from this area would really associate with the San Diego metro area, full of oaks, sycamores, and willows. But yeah, this is suburban San Diego. A lot of these neighborhoods are cut through by canyon. There's a really older coast live oak in there too. So I guess it's got some pretty decent sized trunks off in there. So yeah, this might not be what a lot of people affiliate with San Diego, but if you're from here, you know. Definitely know. Indeed, you know. Even some cottonwoods periodically cutting through this area too. You do get some cottonwood trees. It's part of Rose Creek down there. And we've got these vines. Those are native grapes. Desert wild grape. Bit of Gerdiana growing here as well. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Yep, these are native grapes. And they are edible. A lot of seeds in them. And here's another massive old trunk sycamore. Another thick, girthy California sycamore trunk. Right there. Even the branches are enough to be big trees themselves. Yeah. This is definitely one of the best stretches of this trail here. Definitely. There's a little trail here. like a little nature side trail. I might take that on the way back. There's even a bench in there. Yeah, we're getting close to Genesee right now. Really close to it. What I want to do is cross and keep heading east as far as I can. Because I've done that before, where I've gone across Genesee. Now I think that's outside of the open space park, but there are pathways to get around there too. I want to see if I can take it close to 805, Interstate 805. I want to see how close because there's like this flat mesa area on the northeastern part near Nobel Drive. I want to see if I can make it all the way over there. And here we go, got a scrub oak here. I think this is Quercus berbertifolia. This looks like Quercus berbertifolia. I don't think this is a cutidens. But yeah, we do occasionally get some scrub oak here. Yeah, I think this is the other entrance to that little nature trail, I think. No? No, it's a little further up. It's not that far away. There we go. There's a handsome Fremont cottonwood. Just barely any movement in the air, and yet those leaves are flapping like crazy. Doesn't take much for a cottonwood leaf to flap in the breeze. Here's a big toyon right here too. Pretty juicy toyon. This one may not have the girth I've seen on a lot of them, the trunks, but this one's got height. This one's pretty tall. Yeah, we're just about at Genesee. You can see where that line of Torrey pines is right there. That's Genesee. So this is the furthest I've walked in Rose Canyon, all the way from Bothe. We're coming up across some Matiliha poppies. I'll see when I'm over there. Yes, we do. Hairy Matiliha poppy, Rhamnia trichocalix. Probably the second largest California native flower, after its close cousin, Rhamnia coulteri, the Coulter's Matiliha poppy. I think that one's just slightly larger. We've got a lot of blooming on this black sage, and this one's more purple. Yeah. Very handsome. See? So yep, this is the end of Rose Canyon. But you can still get across the street and take the trail over, hike past the high school here, University City High. Oh, yeah, I remember this handsome, beautiful fuchsia flower gooseberry. It's not blooming anymore. And it's already starting to go dormant for the summer dry season. Pretty interesting. Alright. Get ready to cross over to this side. We're on Genesee Avenue right now. Okay, so this is where I'm going to cross. The trail goes over there. Cross over here, I guess. There's the high school. The trail goes over there. Okay, so here we go. The trail's going to go right along the side here. Here we go, some Torrey pines and some poison oak. So stay on the trail. So we're going to take this. It's going to go along the side here. It's going to go under the school. But here's the trail. Let's see how far I can go this time. Let's get some distance in today. This could be the first through hike of this canyon I've ever done. Oh, there's a little sapling Torrey pine right here. Look at this. Look at that. little sapling growing right there. So, we're going to be heading down. It's going to become a very rocky wash. Kind of like parts of Ruffin Canyon, if you ever hiked Ruffin Canyon in Serra Mesa. Pretty nice. And we got Western False Indigo Bush. Remember that from the last time I was here. It's that shrub down there. Looks like it's blooming too, I think. It's Amorpha fruticosa. Occasionally come across that here in the lowlands too. Yep, Eucalyptus comodulensis, this little river red gum grove right here. Another attractive part of it. And look at all the toyon seedlings. Look at it, everywhere. Toyon, toyons, young toyons everywhere. Look at this. Hundreds of toyon seedlings and saplings. That is sick. Look at this. They're everywhere. This is crazy. They're all over the place. All right, well, I'm going to start heading down this and see how far I can go. See if I can make it all the way to near Interstate 805. That'd make a nice, decent out and back hike today. Got acorn woodpeckers. I hear acorn woodpeckers going crazy. There are a bunch of them flying before I can get the camera open. There are a bunch of them flapping around in that sycamore. Oh well. There. I think there's going to be a whole lot of elevation change from here on. There we go. We're toyon right there. And this is eventually going to become a rocky canyon wash pretty soon. All right. Here's another beautiful older, not super old, but definitely well-aged elder. I think I can smell the flowers right now. Yeah. They do have a little bit of a fragrance to them. A little bit. Alright. I'm going to keep on trekking this. Look at that majestic Coast Live Oak. Right up there. That thing is big. That's a nice one. Has a beautiful Quercus agrifolia, Verde agrifolia. There's a big bird flapping around in there too. Probably a hawk or a raven. Yeah. That one's had some staying power, I'll tell you. That thing is gorgeous. Alright. There's some Californian Sallia, or California bush sunflower. Still going on here. Alright. I'll keep you updated on what else I find in this canyon. Got some southern honeysuckle popping up over here too. Lonicera subspicata denudata. I always have a hard time getting good imagery of this plant. But yeah. Slight fragrance. The last time I tried sniffing one, I didn't get much fragrance, but there's a slight aroma. Pleasant one too, I may add. And down there's the wash. This is probably close to where getting close to where I left the trail, go down and hike the wash, look at some big oaks. Another massive sycamore in there too. Rose Canyon's got some massive old growth sycamores. That thing is humongous. maybe on the way back, I'll have to go check some of those out. I don't think I'm quite where I left it yet. I think I'm close to the turnaround from the last time, but this time I'm going to try to go further. Try to go as far as I can, because I want to explore this as much as possible. Yeah, it's pretty nicely wooded over here too. Very beautiful. Yeah, Rose Canyon's pretty cool. It's pretty fun here. There's another access, look like another access path to the wash. I'm really close to where the railroad track is. I think the last time I didn't want to get too close to it. I think last time I was here I was still hiking this portion here. The tracks are just over there. I'm not supposed to really walk along the tracks, but just want to see how far I can go. What a cool canyon this is. Never really came here as a kid, even though it was close to where I lived. I was always frequenting San Clemente Canyon just to our south. That's where I was almost exclusively. Yes. It's very nice here. All right. Let's see what else I find. Okay. We are right near the tracks actually right now. And it's becoming more overgrown here too. Wow. A little closer to the tracks than I'd like to be. Definitely a little closer than I'd like to be. See if the trail continues inside or not. Hope it does. I'll just go to the wash or something. I can see 805 is just up that way. There we go. Just a short stretch there. Now we're in the wash. Let's see. Looks like there's a trail right there, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, this is the furthest I've ever been in this canyon by far. Well, let's just follow this and see. I'm just gonna follow the wash for now, I guess. So it becomes overgrown or it ends where I'm aiming to go. Alright, well, let's see what comes up next on this adventure. Yeah, we've come pretty far out here. Really came pretty far out. Trying to see if there's a way I can get over to the other side. We're really close to the tracks here. Yeah. Pretty interesting. Not gonna lie. I think that's in a... I think that's 805. Yeah, it should be 805 over there. Made it just about all the way out to 805. The traffic doesn't seem to be moving at freeway speed though. Could be no bell too. I think it's 805. Been at this one for a while. This is by far the furthest I've ever come out in Rose Canyon. This one's definitely more of a through hike. I'm trying to see if I can find this one small mesa spot near No Bell. No Bell should actually be over here. That should be 805. So No Bell should be up there. Should be a system of, should be a small mesa up there with trails and everything. Yeah, this goes pretty far out. Pretty darn far out. So I've been in and out of the wash. Well, this is actually kind of part of it here, but it's not as rocky. But yeah, the freeway's just over there. Yeah, I think that area over there is supposed to be hikeable. I saw trails over in that section on Google Earth. Wow, yeah. It's definitely by far the most remote part of Rose Canyon is out here. And you're going to have some close calls with poison oak, just to let you know. It's going to get really close. Sometimes you're going to have to thread the gauntlet between pieces of it. But yeah, this is definitely different out here. Trying to see if there's a way I can get to the other side. I don't know. I've never been to this part, so I think there are trails that go up onto that part of the mesa on the north rim of the canyon. That's what I'm trying to see if I can find. At the very least, get close to 805. Yeah. Different vibe out here. Now we're nowhere near away from civilization, but for hiking, for canyon hiking, it's quite remote. So we got a lot of lemonade berry and scrub oak on this side of the canyon. There's a north-facing slope right there. Wow, yeah, it's just crazy. So looks like we got some scrub oak and 20-ounce sumac shrubland on this side. Yeah, we're just near the bridge for the 805. And my thing is trying to see if I can find a way to get to that mesa, explore the top of that for a little while. Should be quite an interesting bit there, but let me just keep ambling along and we'll see. Alright, now we've got another type of scrub oak here. And this time, coastal scrub oak, Quercus dumosa, is part of it now. So yeah, looks like we had, I think that first one I pointed out before Genesee, I'm pretty sure that was a Quercus burbatifolia. Now we got Quercus dumosa. We might have akuditens here too, or other hybrids. Got a train coming. Get ready, it might get loud. Incoming train. It's a coaster. It's the coaster train. Yeah, we're just about to cross under 805. That'll probably be my turnaround point. I don't know what the status of the land behind this is. Look at this old scrub oak here. This one's had some staying power. What I want to do is find my way, because I do see some look like trails. Not a really. Oh, San Diego mountain mahogany. Okay. Right here, Cercocarpus minuta floris. Very handsome mountain mahogany too, I may add. Does occasionally pop up here on the coast too. All right. Go through this little gulch. There's a use trail here. Could be worth exploring on the way back. Like I said, I'm trying to put in some distance today. We still got golden yarrow blooming over here. It's definitely way past its peak though. Way past its peak. Yeah, I've got a little patch of scrub oak chaparral here. Presuming that's what that mesa area is going to be. Let me at least get to the freeway and see what my next move will be. Really not a big fan of crossing train tracks. Ugh, look at that here. I think it's blue or something. Couldn't read it very well. Ah, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some scrub oak chaparral here. On this end here. At least the parts of Rose Canyon I've hiked, there's really no chaparral up until this area here. It's like mostly Quercus dumosa dominated. Could be chamise up there too. Probably coastal chamise higher up. Oh yeah. It's awfully quiet sounding for a freeway. Oh, yeah, this is definitely an adventure today. So this is Interstate 805. Never been nearly this far in Rose Canyon. Ah, here we go. Diplacus australis. Sticky monkey flower growing along here. Pretty sure that not that far behind this is going to be inaccessible to the public. But I haven't come across any stay out signs. Yeah, so we're underneath Interstate 805 right now. Very interesting. Wow. Never been nearly this far. Nearly. Still geographically in Rose Canyon. Very interesting. So I just crossed past Interstate 805. Haven't come across any keep out signs, so this is still a trail. Keep following this for a little while more. Very interesting. This is far longer than any other hike I've done in San Clemente Canyon by far. All right. I'm gonna get into my water soon. Start drinking a little water. Starting to get a little warmer out. starting to get thirsty, so. Oh boy, this is quite interesting here. It's very different here. Okay, yeah, this is the end of the line here. Yeah, that sign right there says government property. So this is basically, I'm assuming this is part of, sorry for the jet. That is pretty much the end of the line. So, I'm assuming that is part of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. So definitely not going any further than that. Yeah, not going any further than that. I saw that sign. So I just kept going while the going was good. Yeah, see, that's the exit for Nobel Drive right there. So yeah, we're not that far from it. Wow, yeah, it's definitely one heck of an adventure getting out here and really exploring Rose Canyon. By far the furthest I've ever gone in this canyon. But I think that area was the border of MCAS Miramar. So that was gonna have to be my turnaround point there. Wow, yeah, I really made it out quite a bit out here, I'll tell you. Wow. Now I'm gonna look to see if I can find a way to get across to see if I can get to that mesa near Nobel Drive. So we'll see if that works out. Wow, pretty gnarly. Made it all the way up, probably, yeah, I think that's the border of MCAS Miramar. Like I said, I'm not trying to go through there at all. Pretty cool. Yeah, here's I-805 again. Right, exit 25A for Nobel. All right, get back across and see if I can find a way to get across to get to the mesa area. So yeah, geographically, yeah, this is pretty similar to San Clemente Canyon, and florifically pretty similar as well. Obviously they're in the same region, but the pattern of the canyons is what makes it so similar, because towards the east end of San Clemente Canyon is where you run into more chaparral, and it's the same thing here. Rose Canyon, you start running into more chaparral vegetation towards the eastern part. I want to see if there's a way I can get across. See if I can get to the other side, but I don't know. There's a trail. Well, I don't know. Okay, so I'm on the north side now. Technically, shouldn't be walking along train tracks, but let's see if I can get to the mesa area. So now I'm on this side. I'm gonna see if I can find a trail to get up there and check that area out before starting to head back. Yeah, look at all that. That's a majority of that's Quercus dumosa chaparral. It's about all scrub oak over there. And here is what used to be an absolutely humongous California sycamore trunk. Oh, this is one of the bigger ones. This thing is massive. Dang, that was a monster. All right, now what I'm trying to do is look for a trail heading up towards the mesa. Let's see if that works. We got a little water flowing here. Maybe there. I think there's a seep over here. Must be a spring. Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead and get across this. Okay, here's a trail here. Yeah, it must be a seep or something. Kind of looks like an out-of-place area where you'd not expect to see water. Okay, so looks like we're heading up towards the mesa now. Yeah, it's definitely warming up. The sun's coming out and everything now. These should lead up towards Nobel Drive. Cool. Okay. They're on coastal sage grub. All right. I gotta get a sip of water. Yep. There's that steady south wall. It only gets breached by Genesee Avenue, which makes that slope gentler. I get some pretty good views here on the mesa. Alright, so I've made it quite a ways up from the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Very beautiful here. All this coastal sage scrub. And I see some chaparral just up here too. Start coming into some chamise. Kind of figured I'd come across some chamise chaparral towards the upper part of this. The chaparral likes mesa tops and north-facing slopes, and this is the area where I think Adenosoma fasciculatum variety obtusifolium starts grading into variety fasciculatum. This right here is Adenosoma fasciculatum variety obtusifolium, but I'm starting to see intermediate characteristics as we go further inland from the ocean. I start seeing more intermediate characteristics where they start Adenosoma fasciculatum variety obtusifolium meets up with Adenosoma fasciculatum variety fasciculatum further inland. Start seeing some intermediate traits, slightly more elongated leaves, more typical of variety fasciculatum, and still some fleshy, blunt-tipped shapes reminiscent of the obtusifolium variant. So this is kind of in an area where we start seeing intergrading characteristics. We're just about at Nobel Drive right now. Not that far from it. Oh, notice these fences are here. So probably vernal pools right here. I'm assuming that's what these are. This is a place on the mesa top. We expect to see vernal pools. In fact, I can see some real clear evidence of a vernal pool. Right here. You can see that brown spot in the middle. That's where the water pools up during the rainy season. So that's why these are here, to protect vernal pool habitat from people hiking through it. So mesa tops are pretty good places. These shallow indentations. This is where you'd expect to see vernal pools, like here, right here. In the rainy season, that's a vernal pool. So we're just about at Nobel Drive. We've made quite a bit of progress. Done quite a bit of hiking on this one. I see some pretty big scrub oak thicket up ahead too. So yeah, these things are here for a reason. Protect vernal pool habitat. So stay out. Enjoy looking at them, but don't go splashing around in them. Yeah, here's a nice Quercus dumosa thicket right here. Wow, look at that. That's a nice little scrub oak thicket right here. All right, I'll see you on the next clip. I'm gonna walk the distance all the way, and I'm probably gonna explore a few of these trails before heading back. Yeah, here's Nobel. This is Nobel Drive right here. Crazy. Yep. Pretty interesting. Yeah. Coastal chamise. Here's that little sign. Pretty interesting. Yep. There it is. The old brown sign. So let's see. Here's Nobel. Let's take this trail here. Wow, yeah. Quite an interesting area. Yep. Yeah. Even though we're kind of in a transition between chaparral and coastal sage scrub, still got a lot of California sagebrush going along here. Yeah, this is kind of a mosaic of sage scrub and chaparral. We've got a lot of scrub oak and chamise, which is indicative of chaparral. Looks like this trail just loops back to the main one. Maybe I'll explore here a little bit before starting to head back. Alright. Look at this old chamise. Been around for quite a while. Yeah, buddy. Alright. See you on the next clip. Alright, so I'm just exploring this part along the eastern edge of it, just above the 805. Wow, yeah, it's pretty interesting up here. Of course, we also got some lemonade berry, some Rus integrifolia, also dotting up here. One plant I have not seen much today, these brighter green ones, which are laurel sumac. Those are laurel sumacs there, the olive green colored shrubs. Very interesting mesa top. This is the type of environment where you'd expect to see vernal pools. And this is it. You saw some of those fenced out areas. Well, vernal pools are definitely here. Kind of interesting doing a through hike of Rose Canyon and checking out this mesa. This mesa above it. Yeah, we're right above Interstate 805. Now, out here, now we're starting to get some thick-leaf yerba santa, Ariodyctyon crassifolium, variety crassifolium. Sometimes we get those scattered here on the upper mesas, the upper coastal mesas. This is another plant that has a very wide ecological niche and elevational range as well. I've seen it near sea level. We're just a few hundred feet, or maybe about 300 something feet here, I think, above sea level. And seen it over 6 and I think even at 7,000 feet in the mountains. Look at this chemise. Look at this. This one's definitely an obtusifolium, fully obtusifolium variant here. Very blunt, fleshier foliage. There's a lot of them here. A lot of the other chemise plants definitely have intermediate characteristics, which is what I'd expect to find at this point inland. Wow, this is cool. It's great footage up here, I'll tell you. Very beautiful up here. This is kind of a mixture of coastal sage scrub and chaparral kind of modeled together. A lot of chaparral shrubs and a lot of coastal sage scrub type vegetation mosaic together. I can smell the yerba santa right now. Kind of has a almost marijuana-like smells. Almost. I mean, along the similar lines, not exactly, but kind of has that herby pungence in the air. Wow, yeah. What a cool mesa. This used to be what the area looked like before all that development. So actually, I think we're almost at least as high as the south rim of the canyon. Maybe, yeah, pretty close. Pretty close in elevation up here. Yeah, this is pretty wild up here. This is what the area used to look. This is what the mesa tops used to look like way back in the day, before humans came and scoured it all out. So now we're going back into the coastal sage scrub. I'm going to leave the chaparral behind. Wow, yeah. So I'm going down a different trail. It should lead me down to the canyon bottom. The only thing is you have to be okay with crossing railroad tracks. And it's really not technically really not supposed to do that, but I just make it a habit of just not lingering too long if you want to do the exploration I did. So yep, heading back down from the mesa, down back into Rose Canyon. Yeah, this is a different trail than the one I ascended. Yeah, my ascent trail was a little further up that way, I think. Very nice. Very cool mesa. A lot of butterflies up here. A lot of them. Okay, so this should lead back down to the canyon. see you on the next clip. Reaching a T intersection. So I'm gonna go head this way, head left. Not that far from where I went up this too. Actually, I think I'm right at it. Yeah, this is the same area where I started leaving the canyon bottom trail to start ascending. Maybe I'll follow this trail for a while. Yeah. So I kind of made a loop, a little balloon loop. So let's see. Head along this. Saw somebody on his bike going through here too. Ooh. Okay. There must be a little spring or a seep around here. It's pretty cool. It's a little overgrown over here. Wow. Okay. Whoop. Across here. Yeah, this goes on for quite a while. Kind of interesting, there's a little water course here. Alright, well, we'll see. See what else I find. Interestingly, the little water course keeps going through here too. Pretty neat. I'm assuming this probably feeds into Rose Creek. We're at a pretty low elevation. Wow, yeah, this is pretty neat. And the lizards are out. Keep hearing them scuttling past. Peaceful down here. Very peaceful. Oh, there's a road down here too. I got a wider dirt road. Just follow this for a while. Oh, it's not dirt, it's paved. This is interesting. Yeah. Huh. There's a laurel sumac. Wow, this is different. Huh. This is a pretty comprehensive tour of Rose Canyon. Let's see what else I see. This is crazy. This is different. Look at how insanely tall these are. This is a coyote brush. He's at least 10 feet tall. Yeah, this is an interesting, very interesting little road walk here. Right below some residential tracts. We're paralleling the railroad. I was on that side earlier. This is definitely an interesting way to hike here. Even came across a guy on a run from the opposite way. You can tell this road doesn't get used. Definitely a different vibe here. I don't know exactly where this leads. I've never been on this before. Boys, definitely an interesting, definitely an interesting little return. Look at that. There's a lot more to Rose Canyon than you might otherwise think. This is quite relaxing here. Right into some oaks. There's a little feeder canyon right here. Even though we're in the middle of suburbia, it almost kind of has a back road feel to it, despite all the houses and condominiums. Houses and all these condominiums up here kind of gives a little bit of a back road feel. Very interesting. All right, let me get a few pictures around here. Yeah, there's where University City High School is up there, so not all that far from Genesee. Came across the same runner. Must be doing loops around. Okay, so I'm gonna take the left fork here. Look at that. Look at that swallowtail. That thing is massive. Whoa. That's a big one. Yeah, there's the railroad right there. Wow. Very interesting place, I'll tell you. I'm glad I came out here. Let's see where this leads. I've never been up here before, so definitely not sure. Assuming it leads out by Genesee, but we'll see. Wow. What an interesting hike this has been. Some more pictures of this too. Keeps this little use trails branching off, practically up to the street. There's a little olive tree. Seen a few of them here. A few here. Still curious about where this leads. Might lead up to another University City neighborhood. I see some traffic over there. Well, guess I'll find out. This is just a part of the exploratory adventure. Through hike Rose Canyon. And I suspect it's Genesee up there. There's more big coast live oak on that side too. Wow. It's very pretty. So I'm about to go underneath this little footbridge here. It's partly broken. Maybe not a good idea. Maybe I should try to go around, see if I can. Make sure there's no poison oak over here. Don't see any. Yeah, that footbridge is broken. I'll just take it as far as I can. Okay. Wow, this is interesting. Maybe I'll just take it and hop over. Let's see. Let's see if this works. There we go. Okay. Should be at Genesee pretty soon. Here's a goat nut. Right here, jojoba. Simonsia chinensis. Yeah, a couple of them. Yes. Native to the coast and the desert. Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to be over this way. Because it looks like the road ends right where those people are working. So I'm not going to go all the way over there. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and see if I can get across. I wonder if I can go up this way. I wonder where this would lead. I wonder if this would lead up to a street that I could take. I guess I'll follow this. This will be another part of my adventure, I guess. Never been up this way before. This could be interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure because it looks like the road goes right to where there are a bunch of construction people working. I don't think that'd be a good idea to be around a bunch of construction workers. There's a street just up ahead. So I'm going for this little mini finger canyon here. Yeah, that was an interesting find, finding a goat nut or a jojoba. That was an interesting find. We'll see where this leads. Hopefully to a side street that leads to Genesee. Let's see where this goes. Seems to be leading uphill. There's a street just above me. This has certainly been an interesting adventure. Like I said, I was gonna go straight to Genesee, but I don't think those construction people over there would be too keen on seeing me walking through their area. Ooh, we got linear four-winged saltbush right here. Atropex canescens variety linearis growing up here. Cool. Linear leaf four-winged saltbush. It's got the really extremely narrow leaves. Let's see if this leads out there. Now here's the road. Should lead to Genesee. No littering or dumping. Okay, well, I'm gonna go up this way, see if this leads to Genesee. Very interesting, not gonna lie. Look at this massive monster laurel sumac right here. This thing is gargantuan. This one's so large that the bark is furrowing on it. Look at that. The stems are so large that the bark is furrowing. I guess when they get really old like this, they can furrow. That's insane. Gosh. All right. Let's see if I can get to Genesee this way. So I am on Nobel Drive right now, trying to see if I can get to Genesee, but I'm on Nobel. That's where I'm walking right now. Man, he's really tall. You can look at this cloud of calyx trees. Oh boy, these things are huge. Really tall. See you on the next clip. Okay, not at Genesee, that Lombard place. Should be able to connect to Genesee. At least I think so. still on no bell right now. We'll see how this works. So that's Lombard Place. Alright. Let's see if Genesee's the next one up. So yeah, this is University Town Center area. And I think Genesee is the next one up. So I'll be taking that one next. Yeah, looks like Genesee from here. Okay. Little suburban sidewalk walking. Makes an interesting adventure out of this. Alright. So I'm heading south on Genesee now. Right now. Heading south. So here we go. That's Rose Canyon down there, by the way. Definitely an interesting way of doing this. Alright, so I just crossed Decorro. Lead me back towards Rose Canyon. So I'm descending the north rim right now, heading towards the south rim as we speak. This is Genesee. Wow, pretty views up here. Nice views. Back towards the main part of Rose Canyon. Just enjoying these views along this stretch here. See you on the next clip. Nice view here. Very nice. Well, there are trails on that side. Maybe another time when I come here. Pine in the canyon. A couple of Tory pines. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, these must have come up naturally. Sycamores. Yeah, there are more Tory pines in this canyon. Yeah, there's even another one on that side too. Alright, we'll see you at the entrance. There's the high school. Okay, we're about to re-enter Rose Canyon open space proper for the return leg of this route. So here we go. Let's see. 1 mile of Regents, Bloch Street, 2.5 miles. I definitely covered some mileage today. I'm definitely covering mileage today. So this, from Bloch Street, where I parked, to here and back is a 5-mile hike. But I went all the way past 805, then went back up and over a mesa, then on the other side of Rose Canyon, the other side of the tracks, then seeing that I probably shouldn't walk through the construction site to get back to Genesee. Made a detour up another side canyon to get to Nobel. Walk down Nobel, probably about a third of a mile or so, and back to Genesee down here. Alright, so I'm going to take this little nature trail here. Yeah. Rotary International. Okay, so I'm going to take this little thing. It'll lead back to the main Rose Canyon Trail. Let's get overgrown over here. Oh yeah, chaparral bush mallow's blooming too. Malacothamus fasciculatus, fasciculatus. Wow, yeah. Okay. Alright, so I'll take this little short nature trail. It'll reconvene with the main trail. And I'll have a little bit of a distance to go to get back to Arm Park. Even a little bench here too. Pretty neat. Okay. Now time to walk in the thickets. Low Bridge of the West Coast Live Oak. Alright. Alright. Very nice. Be nice and shady for a little while. But I think I'm going to take a seat for a minute. Get something to drink. And there's the regular trail right there. Just beyond this. I'm just ambling on, not filming as much, but that whole slope, besides a few large shrubs, all covered in poison oak. Yeah, not going to be filming nearly as much on the way back because this is all familiar territory. So, just wanted to show you this beautiful slope as I continue to amble my way back. See you on the next one. Alright, so I'm going to take a quick side trip. I'm going to go up to Regents Road. Not where I'm parked, but just for the heck of it. A little side trip to add a little extra mileage, so I have roughly about 2 more miles before I'm back at the car. No, 2.2. Because it's 2.2 miles to get to Regents, another 0.2 to get back, so got about 2.2 more miles to go. Alright, so I'm going to head up this and see you at Regents. Little peach trees again. I remember these little guys. A few of them. No fruiting though. That's a shame. Very interesting. So here I am at this little shade ramada and bench here at the corner of Regents and Lahite, or Lahit, however you pronounce it. I'll take a break here. It's about 2 more miles back to the car. Nice to be in some shade for now, though. Alright, time for me to start returning. I'm going to start heading down, back to the main trail, leaving behind Regents Road. So, time to start heading back down, back to the main trail. Off return trip. Okay, just about to join the main trail. Now it's about just over 1 3/4 miles back. So here we go. Away I go, heading back to the west. Make a brief detour. That's the main way. Just going to see what's over here briefly. Besides these beautiful sycamores. Just going to go a short distance. Curious where this leads. I'm not trying to add too much more distance, but I wonder what that was in there. Interesting. Interesting. They planted a bunch of different willows. Sandbar willow, red willow, and Goodings willow. Interesting. I'm just going to go over here and turn around. Okay, now it's back on the main track, heading back. All right, keep posted if anything else pops up. Well, nice chunk of the way back. Just going to be curving around walls of this canyon here, Rose Creek Drainage Canyon here, going between Rose Canyon, San Clemente Canyon, and Soledad Mountains Long Ridge. So, should be back in just a little bit. Very enjoyable day out here. Great weather. Occasionally there's this really strong, nice breeze. And what California scrub jay. I love those birds. Those birds are so fun. Can't see it. It's probably in the shrubs. All right. Away I go. Time to parallel the freeway for a little while. I'm getting ready to go through the pretty overgrown part where watching out for poison oak is going to be very, very important because it does grow onto the trail a little bit in spots. So this part here is very important. Watch where you step. This stretch before I get to that little hilly, drier spot along the side of the canyon. This is where it gets pretty important to watch where you walk. So just be careful in this stretch. Here's Rose Creek. Looking nice and luscious. Alright. Here we go. Time to thread the gauntlet. This is where it gets pretty close to the trail and sometimes slightly on it. There's that sandbar willow. Salix exigua, Variety Heinziana. This little spot right here. Nice little spot. So I'm working my way back. Here we go again. We're going to cross Rose Creek. And up through this little stretch here. Then we're going to round the west-facing slope where Rose and San Clemente canyons kind of join. Alright, so I'm around the west-facing foot of the mesa, just above Rose Creek and Interstate 5. So it shouldn't be that much longer before I'm back in the car. So I'm going to head down this, eventually bear to the left, and to Bothe and Bloch streets. Should be there pretty soon. Won't be that much longer. I got less than a quarter of a mile to get back to my car. There's the link to San Clemente Canyon, and my trailhead is just 0.2 miles up ahead. Should be back really soon. Okay, this is the end of the hike for me. The car is right behind that bush. Right here on, ooh, what do we have here? Oh, western fence lizard. Well, this is it for me. Hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this adventure today. A through hike of Rose Canyon. Thanks for watching. See you on my next hike.